let's talk about the top 3 players that are important to the Browns this year. I repeat, not named Baker Mayfield.
Right, because that's the obvious one, right? Baker Mayfield is the most important member of the Cleveland Browns. So we got to just take him off the list. We know that's who everybody's going to say when it comes to the most important Browns. I've got Myles-Garrett as my number 1. If he had a big year last year, he's got to build on that. He's going to have an opportunity with Sheldon Richardson and Olivier Vernon, Larry Ogunjobi. I think he's got a chance to be really special this year. And if he can get after the quarterback, it makes that whole defense completely different.
And again, we made so much of a big deal about what they've added offensively. The defense is going to be really important. New defensive coordinator, too. And how does that figure in with just kind of trying to set Myles-Garrett free with Steve Wilks?
Well, I think it doesn't really change a lot for Myles, honestly. I think he's going to do what he's supposed to do. Now, the thing is, he said Greg Williams limited him to 2 moves. So maybe that's the big change. Now he's going to get to do maybe 3 moves, 4 moves, something like that. So maybe that's going to end up making him more dangerous. He won't be as limited as he was under Greg Williams.
Now, another guy was number 2 on your 3 most important Browns, not named Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I went with denzel-ward because I think he's a guy, obviously struggled with the concussions last year, so you want to make sure he's back and healthy. And if he is, he's a shutdown corner. And that's the type of guy that can benefit from Myles-Garrett. And he can shut down half the field. It's going to make Greedy Williams better because guys are going to have to throw towards Greedy Williams more. So maybe he can pick off some passes. Maybe he can join Denzel-Ward in the Pro Bowl. So I think Denzel-Ward and the ability to shut guys down and shut down top receivers, I think that's really important.
What about the fact that Denzel-Ward now being coached by Steve Wilks? And it's important to note, Wilks is a guy who made his reputation in the NFL coaching defensive backs.
Yeah, exactly. And they've got this stable of young defensive backs, and Wilks is going to help those guys get better. I'm curious to see, last year Denzel didn't really shadow a lot. He kind of played one side of the field. I'm curious if Steve Wilks is going to maybe shadow Denzel now. So maybe when they play the Steelers, is he going to be on Juju every single time? When they play these good receivers, is he going to follow guys instead of staying on one side of the field?
The third of our 3 most important Browns not named Baker Mayfield for the 2019 season. You go offense here.
I did, and I went a little bit of a different route here because I could have said Odell Beckham,
right.
I could have said Jarvis Landry, Nick Chubb maybe, but I went with Antonio-Callaway because I think that next group of wide receivers is going to be really important for this football team because we know what Odell can do and we know what Jarvis can do. What's Antonio-Callaway going to do? Is your number 3 wide receiver, a guy you can play on the outside? He might start on the outside opposite of Odell Beckham, so he needs to step up and grow off of last season. I thought his workload maybe was a little high last year. Hopefully that can come down, but hopefully he can have a big impact with his speed and his ability to get downfield. I think he's really important to this offense.
Yeah, and the second level guys, they're still starter. You could throw David Njoku into that group as well. They're going to have the opportunity to make plays because you're going to have to give guys one-on-one coverage if you want to take Landry or Beckham away or even Chubb or Hunt. It opens the field up for those guys.
Yeah, Njoku's a really interesting guy in that regard. Like if he is a Travis Kelce type of tight end or someone like that, this is his opportunity to show it. We're going to learn a lot about David Njoku this season. So he's another guy you could put on that list. Maybe he's 4th on this list,
right.
David Njoku, because he's a big red zone target. He's another one of those guys who's going to see that one-on-one coverage, and he's going to have an opportunity to make an impact. This is a big prove-it year for David Njoku.
And don't forget, Njoku was so young and so raw when they drafted him. They knew it was going to be a developmental thing, but you're right. An entire year of playing a lot. Now it's time to go out and play.
Yeah, that rookie year was tough for everybody that year. That was the year they went 0-16. There wasn't a lot of talent on the roster. You had Deshaun Kaiser at quarterback. Last year there were steps. He made progress. He's definitely a red zone threat. We've seen that. What he's got to do now is dominate between the 20s, not just inside the 20s, but dominate between the 20s and be a force in the receiving game.
And you can't have the drops that you had.
Yeah,
there
exactly.
were some it seemed like they were almost concentration lapses because. I mean, he is a matchup nightmare for defense.
And he's one of those guys who'll make these jump ball catches. He'll go up and get any ball on the sideline, in the end zone, but then the easy one's over the middle. All of a sudden the ball ends up on the ground. I remember that Baltimore game. The Browns were driving, and everybody, we all remember the interception that ended the game, but a couple plays before that, Njoku had a gimme that he put on the ground, and it really stalled that drive.
Yep, and again, that's all a process, and let's see if they can take the next step.